while since I've made a video, but I had somebody ask me to make an intro bag for gliders. Basically, it's an introduction bag. And what it is it's a bag with, actually it's two bags, and you've got a piece of screening, which you can buy this at, of course, at Lowe's. It's in the screening department. It's what they call pet screen, and it's made to deter your dogs and stuff and cats from scratching up your screens too much. But this is the standard stuff we use in the glider world. Um, and then, of course, just fleece on the back. We have our zippers. And my thinking is, you kind of go here with me. Um, we'll make these bags, and then what you'll do is you'll carry your bags screen to screen. Now, to do that, of course, you have to have a way to get them in and out. So we have our zippers, which are little pieces for the zippers here. We're going to put a D-ring on these, each one. And then we're going to make a strap with these hooks. So you can actually flip these over and hook them together. What do you think? Anyway, I'm going to do this, and we'll do it step by step. Now, I was thinking, a regular size glider bag, because you don't want to stress, you don't want to cram a glider into a bag when you're doing intros, because they're stressed anyway. So I use my standard size cutout, which is I usually put this on the fold, which we're not going to have a fold because we're making it out of two different pieces of fabric, one being the screen, one being the fleece. So it's 9 inches by 10 inches. Normally what I would do, though, this would be cut here in, say, on the front side, and I would cut about a 2-inch strip out and put my screening across here. But since we're not doing that, I just cut this big enough to have a little bit of a selvage when I stitched it up. Anyway, let me get started. I'm going to take the zippers and go ahead and I'll put these on the ends, because I don't know about you, but if I just stitch this up across here and that left that little tiny hole, you're going to have little glider hands start peeking out right there, or little noses trying to push away. So I always put this right here, just as close as I can, and it just makes a better finish on this side too. You'll see. Let me get started. Okay, so now you can see I've stitched this up really close to that opening across the back, so no little scape artists, no little hands can come through. Okay? Now what we're going to do, we are going to first grab this out of the way. Sorry, this is really close. I didn't want to get out my tripod if I don't have to. So we're going to put right sides together, just like that. And we're going to stitch right across here. I'm going to put a couple of wonder clips on here. We're going to split that difference too. A couple of wonder clips. If you don't have these, you need to go out and buy them. They are wonderful. All right, we're going to stitch right across there. Now, I do not take off my regular foot and put on the zipper foot because I'm just lazy that way. But anyway, I've sewn enough years that I can actually manage to do this without any problems. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so we took it to the machine. We put it on a really small stitch so our little glider toes don't get caught in this stuff. And we just stitch right across here. Now I've cut off the excess on these little tabs. And let me show you how it looks. Now, you have to understand there's another part of this that you really have to do. You notice how that just doesn't lay flat and it puckers. So what I do is I take it to the machine again, fold this down. I'm going to show you on the other piece. And you stitch it right across the edge. You just take it and pull this back and stitch it right down here on the outside. Again, keeping your stitches really small because they are going to go through to the back, which is going to be exposed to the gliders. Here's the other one that I already did. I used a contrasting colored thread so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you would stitch right across here. You see how nice and flat that lays now? It's just really nice. You use that right across there. Let me show you what it looks like on the back. You know, you don't stitch it from the back, you stitch it from the front, but the first row of stitches is where I stitched it to the fabric. The second one is where let me show you the difference. Okay, so you see the rust color has been stitched down, and this one has not, and you see where the problem is? It all puckers up. So when you stitch that down, it'll look like this one. So, okay, let me go do this one. I'll be right back. Okay, for this next part, we got a couple of things we need to do that I almost forgot to do, and that was to put in the little inserts for the D-rings so we could hook these bags together. I like this, it's called probably polypropylene webbing. It comes from this company right here, Country Brick Design. I get it off of Amazon. I'll try to remember to put the link below for you. When you cut this, though, it frays really bad. So I normally just take and, of course, I got my ceiling fan on, and just sort of melt that down. It does two things. It keeps it from fraying, and it gives if it begins to pull through, it gives gives a little something for that to keep it from pulling all the way through. It's a little barrier there because it's all melted. So we want to do that. Let me go ahead and do this real quick without burning my house down. Okay, we're going to just do two so I can show you. At least I found the cigarette lighter. Last time I had to go get the grill lighter. And that ought to do it. Yuck. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is we'll put this in here. I'm going to fold it down. And I think because I don't want to fight with this as I'm trying to put it in, I'm going to go run a stitch right across here. Be right back. Okay, now we are ready to attach the fleece part with the zipper to the polypro part. Again, you want to make your stitches kind of small because sometimes they will pull through this, so you want to make sure they're small so we get a good binding. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. This is where we're going to put these D-rings in. And the reason I stitched this just a little bit is because if you don't, you're trying to manage pushing this together and sticking it in. So what we're going to do, we're going to line these up. I usually like to put them on the outside, but we don't have much room here, so I'm going to bring them to the inside, right on the inside of this stop on both sides. You want to have them facing down. And we're going to stitch them just like we would right across. I don't know, I may bring them up a little bit more. We want to make sure we get a good bite on this. And we just want to space them kind of evenly. And we're going to stitch them right in. Oop, bring that back up. When we stitch down our zipper. Now, what I will do when I come across here with the machine, I usually go back and forth across these pieces just because there is going to be a little weight on them, and you don't want them to pull through. So I'll be right back. Okay, we made a stitch across here, and you'll notice that I went back and forth across each of the D-ring holders. Let me show you what it looks like on this side. This is where it gets kind of transparent, of course. Now, this is just like the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to flip this up. And we are going to stitch this down, because if you don't, it is just not going to behave. So we're going to run a stitch right across here. And that'll make this look nice. I'll be right back. Okay, we have made our stitch line across there, and I used a contrasting color. You would want to use black, of course, to make this look better, but for teaching purposes I used a contrasting color. Now when you pick this up, you're going to have your clips on the back, which will clip to the other bag, so they'll be back to back. Now let's think about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it to finish it off. I'm thinking we're going to need something on the sides to hook them together so they don't like swing back and forth. So I found some more of these hooks, which I did get these off of Amazon. I don't know, they're real inexpensive. You can also find these at Hobby Lobby and some of the other sewing, have sewing notions and things. But I think we're going to sew one of these on each side of one bag. And on the other bag, I think I'm going to put this real cute little, we'll make a loop. And then you can just snap them together using this loop. I don't know how big I want to make this. This is going to be kind of a last minute decision. I know a lot of you are very concerned about the open stitches and gliders getting their toenails hung in it. I've just never had, over all my years of making bags and having gliders, if I use the stitch made to like do a buttonhole, the really tight stitches, I've just never had a glider get their toenail hung. I just never have. And you're not going to leave gliders in these bags that long anyway, unattended. I mean, if you do, shame on you, because really and truly, these guys don't need to be in here for long periods of time when you're trying to intro them. It's stressful for them, number one, and you don't need to like leave them anywhere, just drop them in this bag and hang them up somewhere. So, I mean, you wouldn't want to leave them unattended. I just wouldn't do it. But like I said, if you want to finish off these seams, you could take bias tape and stitch it down, and we may still do that. But I'm going to just see what how it turns out. I might could roll it over and stitch it down. But again, you still have open stitches, so either way. And even if you put bias tape on this, you still have stitches. So there's really no way around it other than using the really, really tiny stitches like I do. If you got a better suggestion, let me know. But for right now, that's all I got. So let me go stitch this up, and I'll be back. Okay, here we are, all stitched up. So I forgot to mention, when you're doing this, make sure you remember to leave your zipper open. Because if you don't, you can't invert this inside out. So, a problem. So now what I like to do with my bags is make the box corners. Making box corners makes the glider have a little, flat area in the bottom to hang out in. And I'm just going to clip this for make it easy. So what we're going to do to make a boxed corner, I usually just pinch this corner up. It's going to be a little harder with this mesh. Hard to see, but anyway, if you pinch this up and make it a triangle, let me trim that off so you can see it better. Now, and the seam is going to usually lay one side to another, but we're going to just open it up like that. And this stuff's kind of hard to work with. This is really hard to describe if you're not used to doing a box corner. So it's basically just a triangle that I pinched up. I'm probably going to stitch this, if you look at the, probably right at the 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inch mark on here. Yeah, be right back. Okay, so we've made our stitch across the triangle, and we're going to cut off that excess fabric. And you'll notice I made more than one pass across there because of the, you know, the mesh makes me kind of nervous sometimes. Now let's invert this thing. Raise up a little bit. See what we get. Just push it all through the opening. Push our seams out. And look at that. How's them apples? I think that's going to work just lovely. So your glider, you know, it has a little bottom there with that box corner. And if I didn't show that very well, you can always YouTube how to do a box corner. Let's see how it leaves that little flat area for them to hang out in. We have our loops here, so when we, you know, put our straps on, we can hook this one in the neighbor one, and you're going to want to put these mesh to mesh so they would be looped this way. I think this is going to work. Yeah, I'm real happy with this. I think I will go work on the blue one, and when I come back, we'll put them together and see what we got. Okay, my lighting kind of sucks in here, but here it is finished. The swivel hooks work nice. And again, I make this long enough that if somebody wants to wear it like a crossbody bag, they can. If not, they could put a knot up in the top of this and make it shorter. So we have our two bags hooked together. I'm glad I did this because I think it really would have, like, they would have swung separately, you know, if you had it on. Yeah, I'm gonna check over the way that turned out, and it just seems like it's more practical. And these are big enough that a frightened glider is not, you know, not too confined, but we still have plenty of, you know, space between them if they need to. Privacy on the back, so they're only dealing with the glider and not any outside distractions. It just makes sense to me. I've had this in my head for a while, and I thought, well, let me just do it. I've enjoyed doing this. If you have any other suggestions, or if you would like to have one of these made for you, I have an Etsy page. It is Cajun Shuggies, one word, CAJUNSUGGIES. You can contact me through there. I'm on Facebook under Cajun Shuggies also, two words. You can contact me there, and I'll be happy to try to get you one of these made. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Really helps me out. Goodbye.